Hey everyone, and welcome back to my channel. My name is Josh and this is your stimulus check update for the next stimulus package for Saturday, September 5th. I hope everyone is off to a good and safe start to their Labor Day weekend so far. Let me know in the comment section below if you have anything planned for this weekend ahead. Alright, so in this video I'll be discussing both the first and second stimulus check. I'll also be discussing unemployment, what the prospects are of receiving a second stimulus check, and then I'll be wrapping up this video by answering some of the comments and questions that I received in my previous video. But first, if you wouldn't mind real quickly liking this video, give me a big thumbs up. It really just helps with the YouTube algorithm in terms of pushing this video out to other viewers like you, and hopefully helping other people like you as well. Okay, so I'm going to start out today's video, as usual, by giving a quick update on the unemployment insurance benefits. We're unlikely to see many changes over this Labor Day weekend, but here's a quick snapshot of how things are going state by state so far. First up, you can see on the screen the list of the states that have been approved for the benefits and also started paying the benefits out to their residents. And now, up on the screen, you'll see the list of the states that have been approved for the benefits but haven't started paying them out yet. Now, according to the White House, it should only take 1 to 2 weeks from a state being approved up until they begin paying out the benefits. However, clearly, some states are taking a little bit longer to do so. Finally, here's a list of the states that are well behind the curve and haven't even been accepted for the benefits. I have no idea what's taking these states so long, and I'm so sorry to the residents of these states. Look, I know it's been an unusual process for these states to go through this, but if other states like Arizona and Texas were quick to apply, be accepted, and pay out the benefits, then there's really no excuse for the other states not to be just as quick as well. Also, just another reminder that if you live in one of the states that started paying out the benefits but you haven't received the payments yet, you must earn at least $100 in state unemployment insurance benefits in order to be eligible for the $300 federal plus up. So that's a very real possibility of why you're not receiving the extra. Okay, moving right along to some updates in the next relief package and the second stimulus check. We have a lot of information to touch base on, so let's go ahead and get into it. First off, if you didn't see the jobs report from August already, the US economy added another 1.4 million jobs in August, which lowers the unemployment rate down below 10% for the first time since March. The Labor Department now has the unemployment rate at 8.4%, which is a decrease from 10.2% in June. Still though, even though we're seeing some really good improvements, joblessness still remains historically high. Back in February, for example, we had an unemployment rate of just 3.5%, which also happens to be a half-century low. Now, obviously, while this is very good news that we're seeing more people being hired once again, it's also a real possibility that this decreases the chances of another relief package actually passing. However, even so, most economists would still agree that there are still areas of the economy that need relief. For example, the hospitality and services industries still aren't doing all that well. They may need some additional aid. And of course, we still have a huge chunk of our population unemployed, and while it is nice to see that number continue to dip, we probably do need a few more months of extended unemployment insurance benefits. Even if it's not the full $600 per week that Democrats are seeking, every little bit does help. Then, of course, you had the rise in prices of foods at the grocery store, combined with the lack of income lately for Americans who could really use another round of stimulus payments. So really, even with the news of the drop in unemployment, I just can't see another relief package being off the table. If anything, you could make a strong argument of there being a stronger chance of it actually passing. We already knew that Republicans most likely weren't going to budge off of their $1.3 trillion offer. If anything, though, this could be the motivation that Nancy Pelosi needs to compromise even more just to make sure Americans get some type of relief. So I definitely don't see this news as being some type of game changer in the next relief package. In fact, it's actually great news. More people are going back to work, and while it may not be their first job of choice, at least it's something. Things are slowly getting better. That's a positive. In other news, Vice President Mike Pence said the Trump administration and Congress have agreed to pass a bill to avoid a government shutdown without tying funds to separate measures such as the next relief package. This is a bit surprising because many of us thought we might see a government shutdown if, in fact, they weren't able to come to a compromise in the next relief package. Pence said that now we can just focus on another relief bill and will continue to do just that in good faith. The Vice President has also repeatedly been making a case for another round of stimulus payments as part of the next relief package. saying that nobody wants to give direct payments to American families more than Donald Trump does. Well then, Vice President, let's get it done. Let's extend the federal unemployment insurance benefits at a reasonable amount through the end of this year. Let's send out another round of stimulus payments to American families, send some aid for schools, more PPP, along with additional aid, and let's just get this thing done. There's no better time than the present to just get this bill passed. Okay, so in other news, if you're currently employed, then be looking for a slightly bigger paycheck. Whenever you get paid next, you may see that your check is about 6.2% more than it usually is. This is because the 6.2% Social Security tax you pay for each paycheck is no longer being withheld. Now, I will say that this is money that you may eventually have to pay back, so I would tuck it away in a savings account just so you don't run into an unexpected tax burden next year. Also, it's quite possible that many employers may not actually give you the extra money and end up keeping it themselves in fear that they may actually be the ones that end up having to foot the bill next year. Now, I will say that if you do have any type of questions about the payroll tax cut, I would recommend that you contact your HR department within your company. Also, if you're a North Carolina taxpayer with kids 17 years of age and younger, you're about to become $335 richer. North Carolina passed the Virus Relief Act 3.0, a $1 billion spending measure that will send parents of children 17 years and younger a $355 stimulus check. This will be to help offset the cost associated with remote learning and childcare during this pandemic. Now, even though $335 isn't going to pay your mortgage, it'll still help with the electric and other utilities. And really, it's still better than nothing, and I'm very happy for those of you that are receiving this money, especially the ones that really needed it. Oregon actually did something very similar a couple of weeks ago where they gave certain residents $500, and it would be great to see more states soon to follow. Okay, so at this point in time, I'm just going to give a quick update on the first round of stimulus payments. Unfortunately, at this point in time, there are still several people who haven't even received their first stimulus check. In the YouTube comment section of my videos alone, I see numerous people who are eligible for their check, but for whatever reason, still haven't received it from the IRS. So I can't even imagine the amount of people who aren't on YouTube who are still waiting. And being that this is a time where many people are struggling the most, the $1,200 are definitely badly needed. Now, the only recommendation that I would have for those of you who are still waiting for your payment is to continue checking the payment portal. As long as you filled out a tax return within the last 2 years or started receiving Social Security benefits before this year, then you do not need to take any action to receive your payment. However, if you haven't filled out a tax return within the last 2 years or you started receiving Social Security benefits this year, then it would be required on your part to fill out the Non-Filers tool in order to receive your payment. This can be found through the irs.gov website, and you can click on the Non-Filers tool link from there. Also, just as another reminder, if you have a spouse that owed past due child support, and so you had your stimulus payment also garnished because of that, then the IRS recently noted they'll be sending your stimulus payment to you at some point this month. If you filled out Form 8379, the Inter-Spouse Allocation Form, then you should receive your payment a bit sooner, but either way, you should receive your payment very soon. And again, this payment would only be going to those of you who are married to someone who owes child support. If you owe child support yourself personally, then the IRS will not be sending you a stimulus check until perhaps the next round of payments. Finally, just as another reminder, if you're on Social Security benefits and you never receive the $500 for each dependent you have under the age of 17, then you'll need to fill out the Non-Filers tool by September 30th to receive your payment by October. If you fail to meet this deadline, then unfortunately, you'll have to claim the credit on the tax return you fill out next year. I definitely don't want to see anyone wait any longer than what they have to receive this payment. Alright, so at this point, I'm just going to answer some of the comments and questions that I received in my previous video. And if you have any other comments or questions for me, feel free to leave them in the comment section below. I do try to answer as many of the comments and questions as I possibly can, but for those comments and questions I'm not able to respond to, I do try to pick some of the more popular ones to answer in the next video in video form. Okay, so without further ado, let me go ahead and jump into the first comment of today's video, which is from Jerry. Jerry says, when are we really going to receive the second stimulus check? Tired of hearing the same thing about the people who are making this decision. Alright, thank you so much for your question, Jerry, and that makes two of us. These politicians are going back and forth, making it all about them, which is unfortunate because this should be about the American people. I wish I could give a 100% guaranteed timeline for when we will receive it, but unfortunately I cannot, and anyone who does is lying to you. What I can say is if the next relief package does get passed, it's more than likely it'll be done by late September or early October, because it's hard to see them passing much of anything within just a couple of weeks before the election. And let's say they pass a bill in late September, then that means stimulus checks should start going out a week or two later, which will put us in early to mid-October. And again, there's no guarantees here, but both the Republicans and the Democrats want to send out a second round of checks, so the probability is still high. Okay, moving right along to the next question of today's video, which is from Martin. Martin says, are SSI recipients included in the next round of stimulus checks? Alright, thank you so much for your question, Martin. And yes, if they do send out a second round of stimulus checks, then those on SSI will also be included. Treasury Secretary Steven Mnuchin said that anyone who received the first round of payments will also receive the second round as well. There is also a strong possibility of dependents over the age of 17 receiving the second round of payments as well, since both the Republicans and the Democrats included payments to them in their proposals. This is very good news because dependents over the age of 17, such as college students, didn't receive anything in the first round, which really hurt because these were some of the people that really needed the money the most. Alright, so on that note, I'm going to go ahead and wrap up this video. If you did enjoy the content in this video and you'd like to see more videos like it, please consider subscribing to my YouTube channel. It is completely free to do so, and it's a great support to me. Also, if you'd like to receive one free stock from Webull, valued all the way up to $1,600, please feel free to claim that free stock by clicking the link in the description box below. And until next time, I'll see you guys, and I hope you have a great day today.